about the 25th anniversary of the Fourth Republic, a Fourth Republic within which you have played various roles, from MP to deputy minister to vice president and ultimately to president. But I've also been reading that exciting book of yours, My First Coup d'etat, which chronicles some of your experiences in what you term as the lost decades of Africa. And I'm just wondering, so having had these experiences and moving into 1992 when the referendum was, took place, and then 1993 when we ushered in the Fourth Republic, how confident were you that this time this republic was going to survive?
First, I'll make a correction in the introduction. I was MP for Bole Bamboy. And my people in Bamboy are not happy at all when they are normally left out of the nomenclature in the title. And so I was MP for Bole Bamboy. I wrote a book, My First Coup d'etat, whose title comes from one of the stories in the book. The book is made up of several stories. Each chapter is a story in itself. And one of the chapters in the book is called My First Coup d'etat. And it speaks about the 1966 coup that overthrew Nkrumah's regime and the impact it had on me as a child growing up. And that's why the book has that title. But the book chronicles a period of Ghana's history, post-independence, from about the coup, 1966, until about just before 1990, when I came back from Moscow, having finished my postgraduate in social psychology. So that's the period it chronicles. Now that's a period that is not very much written about. People will write about specific incidents within that period. For instance, Michael Quay has a book that chronicles the June 4 period and all that. People have books on specific segments, but this tried to look at the broad picture of what were we doing in that period. And so it talks about a young person growing up, and it talks about the historical context in which things were happening in Ghana. It talks about the coup d'etats from 1966 to Achampo's coup d'etat to union governments and all that. But I do it in a very relaxed manner, and it's like a novel and like a storytelling. And so it's not like a textbook, you know, and so it makes it very easy to read. But if you take that period of instability, I mean, there was a revolving door of unconstitutional governments, you know, starting from 66, then we went back to the Second Republic, and then it was overthrown on 13 February, and we're under the National Redemption Council, and that changed to the Supreme Military Council 1, then to Supreme Military Council 2, then we had June 4, then we had the Third Republic, then we had 31st December. If you look at that period, you know, Ghana had reached rock bottom. A lot of our, you know, best brains left the country. I mean, professors, you know, literary scholars, artists, celebrities, teachers, even professional workmen, auto mechanics, everybody left and went to Nigeria and other places. And so Ghana had reached where, when you dig a hole and you reach the bottom, you can't go any further down. And so the only direction you can start going is climbing up. Yes. And that's exactly what happened. The period of the PNDC, as Rawlings said, was the coup to end all coups. And it actually was the coup that ended all coups, because it gave a certain period of stability, 11 years, in which very important fiscal reforms were undertaken. And it allowed the economy to start to grow again. And after 11 years, it was decided to go back to democratic government in 1992 with the 92 Constitution. And that was what began the Fourth Republic. And so I think that all that period of instability did contribute to a sense in Ghanaians that, look, we need to go back to a democratic dispensation. And all of us agree that the only way you can change a government is through the ballot box. All political parties came to that conclusion. And that is what has made Ghana's Fourth Republic survive. And I'm sure it's going to survive for many centuries to come.
There are some who doubt that, because, and I'll come to that issue subsequently, but I want us to look at what you've been doing since you left office. I see you've been very busy. First of all, even whilst in office, you played a very strong role, a very strong hand in the Gambia, where the former president Yahya Jammeh, you know, was refusing to go. You were in the picture very efficiently, and then you played a very huge role in the Kenyan process as well. We all know the turbulence in Kenya at the time and the role you played there. And then more recently in Liberia, you were hugely present as well. I'm just wondering, these accolades and these recognitions and assignments that you've taken on, do you think you earned them due to the strength of Ghana's democracy since 1992?
Yeah, definitely. I believe that it's Ghana's reputation as a beacon of democracy that is rubbing off me. And I'll not be the first former president to be involved in international assignments like this. We have President Rawlings, we have President Kufuor, and myself. President Rawlings has been involved in Somalia, in the conflict in Somalia. President Kufuor has been involved in COP21, the climate change conference. He was one of the major resource persons. And so I'm not going to be the first to be involved in international assignments like that. And I think that it's because of Ghana's democratic credentials that they continue to draw on the resource of our former presidents to be able to do these things. But I'll also say that the Gambia one was particularly interesting. Gambia had held this election on 1st December, and we held ours on 7th. Now, after the elections were held on 1st December, Yahya Jammeh conceded and congratulated the victor. And a few days after, he reneged on the concession. And so we went to, we also held our election, and of course I lost the election. And so we went to an ECOWAS meeting, and they were going to constitute a delegation to go to Gambia. By then I was still president because I hadn't handed over yet. Yeah. This was after December 7th, but before January 7th. So it was decided to include me in the delegation. I know why they included me. They wanted me to be an example to Yahya Jammeh because I had also lost an election and conceded. So it was President Koroma, President Buhari, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and then they added me as the fourth. I was still president at the time. Yeah. So we went on the first mission, and the mission actually failed because we spoke to President Jammeh, and he declined. He said that there were irregularities in the election. He had discovered after he had conceded that there were irregularities, and so he wanted the Supreme Court to be constituted to listen to that case. And I tried to put in my pitch, knowing the reason why I had been included, and I said, "Oh, but President Jammeh, I also have just lost an election, and I mean, it's not life and death. There's a lot more we can do together. So, I mean, you and I, having been leaders of our countries, we can, go around and, engage in international assignments that help to consolidate democracy." And his response was very typical of him. He said, "Well, the imperialists can tell you what to do in Ghana, but in Gambia, the imperialists cannot dictate to us." So, of course, he refused. The first mission was a failure. It was only the second mission, that made some progress, where we were able to take the president-elect out of Gambia and send him to Bamako, where the ECOWAS meeting was taking place, from where he was sent to Senegal, and he was sworn in at the Senegalese embassy. And then ECOWAS took a decision to move forces into Gambia and then resolve that issue. Kenya was a very difficult assignment. Kenya has very strong ethnic divisions, and so every election is actually a do or die affair, and so nobody was prepared to lose. And so it was obvious that any side that won, there was going to be quite some trouble, and that's what happened. I mean, once Uhuru won, of course, Raila accused me of being Uhuru's friend. And that's why I decided not to go to the second election. The Commonwealth asked me to come back, and I said no. I mean, one of the major political leaders has accused me of being friends with the other, and so I don't want to prejudice anything. So I refused to go. But of course, ECOWAS had asked me to go to Liberia, and so I didn't go back to Kenya. I went to Liberia. Liberia, so you know what happened. Things went well, and nobody got 50% plus. And then the one who came third with 9% of the votes decided to go to court and postpone the election for almost 8 weeks, but happily the runoff came on, and Opomia became the president-elect, and the inauguration is on the 22nd of this month.
And just by the way, I have a friend in Gambia who told me about the ceremony to hand over power to the current president, and the fact that you were there, and the current president, Mr. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was also there, and for him, it was the best example to show to the world, to one former president of the Republic of Ghana and the current president, and when he saw you shake hands, he felt something descend on him, a feeling that he could never describe. For you, when you meet the current president as well as some of your other predecessors, what is the feeling like, especially when you do so out there in the international community?
I think that there are few countries in Africa that have the good luck of having former presidents alive and, you know, living cordially together. I mean, Botswana and countries like that, yeah. Tanzania, you know, even you can take the case of Nigeria, Obasanjo, good luck, you know, Yakubu Gowon and all of them. We have no other country but Ghana, and all of us must have that belief that we can make our country better. And I believe that in this year and going forward, the media should help us. It's not everything that is a failure in Ghana. There are a lot of successes we've chalked, but unfortunately as a country we concentrate on where we failed and do not trumpet our successes. I mean, from 1992, this economy has expanded at the fastest rate ever in the history of Ghana. We've moved more people out of poverty and hunger since 1992 than any other era in the period of Ghana. And so democracy is paying dividends, but the point is, the media and everybody else is not highlighting it. All we're focusing on is where there's no school and children are under trees. But what of the 5,000 new schools that have been built where children are? And I notice that the media always goes and looks for where the road has not been done. They go and look for where the drain has not been done. They go and look for where people are defecating in the bush. But then they do go and look at where a new road has been done and talk to the drivers. How do you feel since this road was done? You understand? So while showing the things that are yet to be done, you must also champion what has been done and show how it has improved the life of the people. You come from the Upper West region.
I do.
You remember how it was on the Solafofoso Road and how many hours it took to drive to Tamale?
5 hours plus? Yes.
More than 8 hours almost. Now a driver can go from Wa to Tamale, load back from Tamale and go back and sleep.
In fact, I have driven on that road for 2.5 hours from Tamale to Wa.
Yes.
Yes.
And yet I haven't seen any media house go and interview any drivers and say, how do you feel?
Yes, we have done that.
You have, okay.
We have done that. And
well, but that's why maybe GBC deserves the TV license.
All right, thank you very much. We have been speaking with the former president of the Republic of Ghana, former President John Dramani Mahama, and he has been giving us his opinions on the Fourth Republic, and he expresses hope that this republic has survived so far and will survive. He have cautions that it will not come on a silver platter. We need to work towards the survival and the maintenance of the Fourth Republic. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Once again, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for accepting us into your home and for granting us this very first interview of yours after you left office to a local media house. Thank you. We'll meet you again some other time. Have a very, very good day. Bye-bye.